Hello guys, my name is Ismas. Welcome to another Blender live stream. Today we're going to be trying to make this handbag here, and yeah, it looks a bit complicated, but it shouldn't be that bad. Let me mute this. Put on some background musical. Let me get it here. Okay, so let's see how to approach this. Let me reduce the sound bit. Yes, so I think this is. It looks complicated at first, but I think if we made if we mod this part here as a flat surface and then just use the bend modifier or what is it called, a surface deformer? Yeah, a surface deformer to deform it. So we would make a flat surface with this pattern, like a plane, and then bend it using a surface deformer. Let me show you what I mean here, because maybe I can explain to you what we're going to do, and then yeah, we get it into it without me explaining it step by step. So let me first get these images here, and let me also paste the reference images in the chat. So if you want to follow along, you can just find it there. So let's see. Let me just drag this directly. Yeah, so let's rotate this. I'll turn on screencast keys so you can see what I'm doing here. So yeah, another thing maybe I should mention here is that yeah, if you have an account on CG-Trader, so this is another way to get projects to work on. You can go to CG-Trader, and they have a section where you can find 3D jobs like this guy here wants someone to model this for him, and he's offering about $50, but you earn about 48 after CG-Trader takes their cut, which I think is fair enough. And they have been around, I think there were about 18 applicants. I'm not applying for this job because it has a lot of applicants. I just found the project interesting. So yeah, let's continue into it. Let me reduce this sound a bit. Okay, so let's let me show you how we are going to do this. So if we add a plane, rotate it maybe 90 degrees, you can give it any pattern you want. So let me add a few loops here and a few loops here, and maybe you can select everything, Control B to bevel. Let me first apply the rotation and scale so that the bevel calculates correctly. So I'll bevel this, add 3 loops, 3 like that, and I just need to select. So this is what we are going to be doing. I'm just trying to experiment and show you the different ways we can approach such a project. So maybe we can push this in like that. So we would have something like this. Maybe if you add a sub-surf, it will look something like that, and then you can smooth it. So these edges can be made sharp using the edge creases. And now if we add another plane, take 90 degrees, scale it to fit that object. I'll turn on our random colors and cavity, so that I can easily see the 2 planes. Make sure this sound is okay, good. And now, because we're going to be using this object to deform this object, so we can add a few loops here, maybe around 2, because it's going to bend more in this direction than I. And now you can select this here and add something called a surface deformer, and you can select this as the surface to use as the deformer. Now you bind the 2, and now when you make changes to this, you can see they're also applied to the other one. And now we can just, let me bring this in the reference image. So now we can bend this however we want. I think, let me select this top, turn on proportional editing, and move my cursor around here. Rotate using the cursor as the pivot point. Now we can bend this in any way we want. So if we hide this, you can see there are a few issues because we don't have enough resolution for that area, but I was just showing you the idea we want to use for this. So let's begin and create this pattern here, and let's see how we can manage that. So let me see. If we added a plane here, let me bring it here, because I want to find the easiest way to make this pattern, and I think we have, if we put it here, let me change this back to median point. Change back to the median point, scale it down. Because I want to model one part here and then use the array system to create, to expand the pattern I want. So go to edit mode. Make sure that it's the size of this triangle here, or sorry, square here. Or kite shape. So we can add, let's see, if we add a loop, let me see, where is this, where is my music? Okay, so if we go to edit mode, add a loop here, and add a loop around here, we can join these two, this and this, this and this, and this and this. So we get that same pattern, and then do the same like this. Now we just need to remove those edges where they're not supposed to be, so we have that pattern like that. That is, let me see, should we, because I want to use the mirror modifier, let me see, should I use the mirror modifier? So if we add an array, yes, I think we get the pattern we want. So this is the middle, so here, let's see, we can begin this pattern from here, and we just need, is it 3, maybe 4, let's use 3, let's just use 4. Now we need to also add an array to duplicate this in the Z axis. So in this axis, so I'm not sure how many of these, so we can count them. So this square here would be 1, and then this is 2, and then the fold would be 3. So to go here, I think around 5. Now let's try adding the details there. So if we, which one is it? Let me switch off this and this. So we need to make this pattern clear. If we selected this, let me bring this back here so that we can see what we're doing more clearly. So if we selected these loops, we can bevel them. You can bevel them, but this creates an issue here, so we need to make these straight from this to this. make them straight. Let's make sure that we have this to set to median point. Scale X. Oh, I have proportional editing turned on, so let me first disable that. Make sure these are straight. And also make sure that this is also straight, so that it can connect with the bottom. Like that. And if you go in the array settings, you have this option to merge connecting vertices. So switch that on, and we can come in here and connect. Oh, maybe we can just make these straight as well. Straight in the Z axis like that. Also make sure this and this are straight in that axis. Then do it again for the X axis. So this and that straight. This up to here. Straight. So there are no more gaps. And so we can, but we have this issue here. We need to push that so that it's in the middle. Again, at the bottom here. Bring this so that it's in the middle like that. Let's see this as well. And scale them. And so we can select this loop. This here, and then this here, and then push them in like that. And now we can turn on the subdivision surface to have something like that. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so we need a way to join these here. So I think let's first turn off this array. Maybe this here. We can select this here. We can select this up to here and join. Hit J to join them. J. Oh, select this and this, and then hit J, so that we have a line cutting through them. And then we can select that loop. Then make sure this middle vertex is also selected, and bevel that like that. We also need to make sure that this extends all the way like that, and this extends all the way like that. We need to do the same for this top here, so select that, and then hit J. Make sure this cuts through the middle vertex and it doesn't create more vertices. We have a few issues here, so we need to connect. Let's see what's going on here. How are we going to join this? Before we worry about that, we can just connect this with this. Oh, we need to first subdivide, bevel this as well. Let me save this project and back. So again, make sure that this connects to the top as well, like so, and come to the bottom here and connect that as well. I think what would make this easier is if we used a mirror modifier. So I can connect this and this and select this side here, delete that side, and we can use a mirror modifier for that side. for this side, and just so it is applied to the array, because you see now it has to be above all the array. I mean, something like that. And since this side is the same as the top side, we can also delete this bottom side and use the array modifier for that as well. So let me first deselect these, delete faces, and I use the array for that side as well. I can switch off the array for now, use the mirror for that side as well. So we only have to worry about this side. So if we turn on subsurf, we have this, but the problem we have is that this side is not connecting very well. So we need to come in and see what's going on here. So these vertices here need to be pushed down like that, so that they are on the same level as this vertex. So yeah, I think around there. We need to turn on clipping so that the vertices are not intersecting with the mirror on the other side. So do that. Now let's turn on everything and see. This is what we have, but we still have this problem where we have a gap between these two. We have a gap here that we need to eliminate. So let's see what's going on here. Let's first turn off this and see how we can remove this gap. So let's see. I think one way would be, you see how this is connected? This here is supposed to connect to that. Let's see. Let me see, what can we do here? Oh, I see. So we can connect them, maybe, interesting, I'm not sure. Maybe bring this vertex like this, and then use this to connect in the center, and still have a few issues. This needs to be on the same level like that. Maybe we don't. Can we remove this loop? We have a lot of connections that are unnecessary here, so we can select this edge and connect it with that, merge it with that, and let's see now. We don't need these to be pushed in, so it has to be on the same level as all the other vertices. So bring that up. Or what we can do, let me see, since we have clipping turned on, we can select this edge and move it to clip with that side, and now we can remove that extra vertex. So if we turn off these and the mirror modifier, we can just delete this face so that we have something like this. Maybe we can merge that to that, and merge this to that as well, and we can delete this vertex. There is some pinching going around there, so let's see how to fix that. I think we have to do the same thing at the bottom here, what we are doing up here. So let's first turn off this. We can delete this vertex, connect this and this to here, this as well, and maybe we can delete that vertex. This can be connected to this. Let's see, and need to come to this here. Can remove. If we get this pattern right, then everything else is going to be really simple to do. So that's why you have to spend a lot of time, some good time around here on this part here, so that you can get everything correct. And let's turn this back on and see. Still have a weird pattern going on here, and let's see, it's being caused. We'll figure out why that is like that. Let me first come here. I think this needs to be merged with this. And let's see. Let's see. You have a perfect. This is the kind of intersection we are going for, but so I think we need to go for a pattern that looks like this. So let me try this and see if I make a duplicate of this, because you see the pattern we have right now is that in some areas this kind of fades off and it's not as sharp as this intersection here. So let's try something different and see. So I'll first switch off the subsub for this. Move this aside to the side like this, and maybe I can first turn off this array. So this intersection here is perfect, and we want it repeated on on all the corners here that are causing issues. So this. This is the intersection we want. So can we put it here at every corner? So let's disable everything here and apply the mirror modifier. So we need this pattern because it's the pattern that is working for everything. And so we need it here, and we need it here. So let's see what can we do to make it happen. If I selected this here, Shift D, and brought it here, can it work? Like this. I think it should work. So if we deleted that vertex, then merge that with that, something like that, then bridged this with that, did the same for this side. Like that. We need the same thing here. So I think I can add a cut here and there. Let me just use the knife tool, and we can select this side here. We can select Let me see. So we have this here. We also need this exact thing here. Let me first join these. Okay, so we have successfully added this pattern on two sides. Now we need to figure out a way to add it on this end here. So if we selected this again, Shift D, duplicated it, and there is some intersection going on this side, so let's just use this side, which is the same because we're using the mirror modifier. Need this to be connected. So let's see. Make sure these are merged to the center, and we can delete that vertex and see. Also, I think we need a line there. So we can merge this with this, should we? Oh, I see. What we need is join this with this end, and then bridge this with this, and connect this with that. So we have something like that, and I think just delete this, connect the two. So we have something like that. We need a square that has all the four corners are having this pattern here. So let's see what part do we need. I think we also need a pattern, this same thing for the top here or bottom. So let's select again, Shift D, duplicate it, put it at the top, make sure it's at the center there. Now we can select that vertex, delete it, and now we can select this edge, connect it with this here, select this, connect it with this, and we can select this, merge it with that, select this, merge it with that. So we only are remaining with one side here, so let's do that. Shift D, it's a bit tedious, but I think it should work, and it's the most difficult part. So the most difficult part about this is just making that pattern right, and so that's why it's taking a lot of time, but I think it should be worth it. So just need to join this with that, last, and then select this, connect it with that, and select this, connect it with that. So I think we are there. We have got to that part where we have all the four sides having the same pattern. So we can select these extra parts, extra sides, delete faces, select vertices, select so we just need one square that has that pattern, and now we can use the array modifier and the mirror modifier to duplicate the different squares into So this is what we have so far, and so we can bring it in here. Let's first hide this and see if it fits correctly where we need it to fit. So if we put it in the center here, then let's see if we use the array modifier and turn on the subsurf. Perfect. That is exactly the pattern we wanted to go for. You can see. And now if we want this to be pushed out, more pushed out, let me make sure this sound is good. Okay, if you want this to be pushed out further, these cubes here, we can first turn off everything and select these edges, subdivide, and so we can join them like that. And push them out a bit. So let's turn on the array and the mirror, and maybe let's then push them out like that. Now you see what we have. Turn on smooth, and we have something like that. Let's first see. I think there is some pinching going on around there, so let's examine that and see how we can fix that. So maybe if we merge that with that, we can remove that pinching you see there. Yeah, I think we can. So let's do that. So these outside corners should be merged like that. To avoid the pinching you see that was happening, let's add. Okay, then we have this issue. So those patterns need to be there. So we need to come up with a different solution. So let's scale these in. So shifts. What direction is this? If we do this, can we reduce the pinching by doing that? Yeah, I think that's good enough. So we can bring the pattern. If first turn off the subdivision surface, increase the pattern in this side. Actually, this side, I think about there. Now let's work on folding this. So to make this foldable, we are going to use, maybe I need to scale this in the X direction like this so that it fits the handbag. So to make this foldable, let me first make this a bit longer. Let me see. We have different. Let me first look at other reference images. I think there are two sides to it. So let's fold this. I think we need to increase the array count up here. So something like that. And we're going to use the simple deformer so we can add a plane. Make sure it is the same scale as the object you're trying to deform. So, and also apply the, what is going on here? Oh, can delete these, we don't need them anymore. So make sure it's the same scale and it's covering the entire object, so something like that, and apply the scale and rotation. Now we need to add in a few loops here, maybe about 3 in the middle, like that, and we need to bind the two. So when you're binding, make sure that there is little separation between the two objects. So I can select this object and then add the simple the surface deformer and select our plane as the deformer like that, and then hit bind to bind the two objects. Now if we start editing this, you can see it is linked to the other objects. So now let's see how to bend this here. So there are few ways you can just edit this directly. Maybe turn on proportional editing. And move these around until you get the shape you're looking for. You can see these bends will bend right. And if you hide the object, turn on subdivision surface. And subdivision surface here. Make sure this is after the bind, not before the bind. You can see that that binds well. But the problem is with editing the deformer mesh, I kind of it will stretch the pattern, and that's not something we want. So let's undo. Ctrl Z. So instead of using that, we are going to use the simple deform on this object. Change this to bend, and we can bend this. Let's see, and you can use the limit to change where the bend is supposed to be. Instead of manipulating the settings directly here, I'm going to add an empty so that this process is more easier. I'll add it around there. Select our mesh and select our empty as the axis. So this will make it easier for us to control where the bend is. Now we can come in and play around with the limit setting. Maybe the angle as well. Sometimes it's really hard to work with this bend modifier, with the bend modifier, so you need to play around with it a little bit to figure out how it works. So I think this is good enough. There's some bit of stretching here, so let's try playing around with the limit method. Let's see. You know what? Let me turn off this simple deformer because it's messing with. It's really hard to figure out how it works. So let's try something different. Let's use a curve instead of that. So if we create a curve, 90 degree, I'll rotate it. So we're going to be using this as our deformer. So I'll select, let me hide. And I think if we are using the curve, we don't even need to use this surface deformer, so we can delete that and also delete our plane. And can use Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift S, selection to cursor, and then add a curve deformer, and then select the curve as our surface. Now we just need to figure out the angle. Okay, so that's what we have. Negative should be the negative value. So yeah, now we can come and edit the curve into the shape of the bug. So if you go to edit mode and hit Alt C, you will open up the curve. Now we can rotate it so that it's facing down like that. And now we can move this in the X direction. Let me see the reference image here. I'll save this. So this is a bit smaller here, then expands in a bit, expands out a bit. Hello Dibsiful, hello dude, great tutorials always. Thank you, man, thank you. We need to rotate this a bit, so I'll change this to aligned. So I think this is a good shape here. I think it's too long, and so if it's too long, we just come into the array and reduce the count. Let me move this in the Z, yeah, the Z direction like that. So the direction you move the object will be dependent on how your object is rotated. So yeah, it might be different to what I'm using. So let's see how this looks. So I think now we can apply the curve deformation, but just to be safe, we can make a duplicate of this, remove everything. So that's our pattern, and you can put it somewhere else, hide it, do whatever you want, so that in case you mess up this mesh, you can always go back to the pattern that you have. So we have that. Can bring this down. I think this also needs to be extended. Let's bring in our reference here, push it back. I think this needs to be extended one pattern. Yeah, I think around there to have something like that. And now I think we can apply the curve. Oh yeah, before you apply the curve, you need to start applying everything from up to the bottom. So we need to apply the array, and then the second array, and then the curve. Now we can delete the curve, and this is our pattern. We can switch off the subdivision surface because it kind of slows down my PC when I'm working, so I will just remove that. And if we look at the reference image here, I think we can use the mirror modifier here, so that we only have to deal only with one side. So let's select thing up to there, delete those vertices. We can set this loop here Shift S, cursor to selected, origin to 3D cursor, then turn on the mirror modifier. Make sure there is no intersection, so turn on clipping and move okay, what is going on here? Yeah, make sure there is no intersection within those, and so now we can start making these curves here. And the simplest way to do that is using Boolean. So let's hide this, Shift A, add a plane, and rotate it 90 degrees. We can add a loop here, delete all the vertices here and the ones up. We can now follow this profile here. So we're going to use this to cut through our object. So I'll bring this like that. Maybe extrude this down, and you can select, can even turn off the mirror modifier for now. You can select this, turn on booleans, and select this as the object, boolean object, and use this as difference. So if we hide this, you can see we have that like that, and now we can apply the mirror modifier, crackling. Okay, I'm not sure what, maybe the mic is crackling, or is it just me? That's a problem. I don't know. I don't know, but let's hope you can hear. I hope you can hear a bit because this has gone on for quite a while, so I'm not sure what to do. So let's continue. We can remove these vertices that are really being used. So and there. And let's see what happens if we turn on the subdivision surface. Not bad at all. So we can also bring this like that, remove that, and that's what we have. So then we need to add this kind of rim that closes out the entire pattern. So let's see how to approach that. So if we select this edge loop, okay, we need to also delete these extra vertices. So if we select this edge loop, okay, let's see. This has to be connected with that. There's still a few edges. Okay, then we can extrude this. Can extrude this down. Something like that. You know what, to make this simpler, because if we just did it like this, There's going to be a lot of issues with these vertices here. So let me first delete this. I will just add a loop around that as a separate object, so that goes around everything as a separate object. So let's also select curve of this end here. So you can select this vertex and that, hit J to join them, so that we have a loop that goes around there. Now we can extend it so that it's curving like that, and now we can delete these extra vertices. And you can turn on the mirror modifier to have something like that. For the front side, we just need to select all the vertices around here, Shift D, mirror them in the Y direction. And to make it easier, we can separate this as make it a separate object. I think we can select the vertices here, delete them, select these, turn on proportional editing, and then move them in a bit like that. So let's see. You know what? Let's try adding that ring we were talking about. Let's begin with the bottom part here, which is more easier. So if we selected that loop, hit E to extrude and scaled it, turn on proportional editing, scaled it out a bit like that, and select these to around here. And we can extrude them in like that. So let's see how this looks with the subdivision surface. I think it's not bad, doesn't look bad. Maybe we need, before we add another loop there, we can first extrude this even further. Should we? Let me see. If we extrude this, if I turn off subdivision, scale this, maybe push it back to around there, then push it, extrude, and then scale in. Like that. And extrude in this direction, and we can make these, we can straighten these in the Y direction like that. But the problem we're having is that we have a lot of loops that we don't need here. So let me try pushing these. So we need to figure out a way to merge them into single loops. Right, so far this is what we have, which I think is not too bad. So we can see how to merge this into one loop. Can merge this to the center. Do the same there. Do the same for this. We also need to do the same around this. Okay, let me see what's wrong with the mic, and then I'll continue the live stream in a moment. So thank you for watching.